Trump basically, going into this case with in front of Judge Merchan, he had basically two options. And this is not with regard to the gag order. This is with regard to the case as a whole. He could have said, yeah, I had an affair with her and we paid her off. I did it because I wanted to save the embarrassment to my family. As long as he keeps it to that rather than to influence an election, it's not a felony. It's okay to lie to your spouse, and it's okay to try to cover up an affair. Those are not illegal things. They're covered by the First Amendment. It's not okay to try to throw an election. So he could have said, yeah, I did it, and I was embarrassed, and I just was trying to protect Melania. And had he made that argument, he would probably, at the very worst, be facing a New York misdemeanor of falsifying business records, for which he would not go to jail. He wouldn't even, there's a remote possibility, but it's pretty remote. Or he could just, put it all on the line. He could put all his chips on the table, as it were, push it all in, and say, there was no affair. I had no idea that Michael Cohen, mortgaged his home to pay off this woman. I don't know why he did it. I didn't ask him to do it. He's lying. She's lying. Everybody's lying except me, Donald Trump. I'm the only one who tells the truth. He could take that position. These are basically his binary choices, right? And if he takes that position, either he gets off scot-free because the jury believes him, or at least one person on the jury believes him, and there is one person on the jury who has read 3 Trump books and gets his news from Truth Social. So, yikes. But on the other hand, it's a high-risk bet because, if the jury doesn't believe him, then he's guilty of a felony. In fact, he's guilty of multiple felonies, and those multiple felonies might end him up in jail. Now, Todd Blanche, his lead attorney, and Donald Trump have gone with option number 2, clearly, denying everything. And, there's some huge holes in this. First of all, why would Michael Cohen take out a home equity loan if his boss didn't ask him to? I mean, that's not the kind of thing that you do. Hey, I think I'll help out my boss here without telling him. I'll mortgage my home for him. Really? I don't think so. And the second is that, he paid Cohen $420,000, which includes the payments for McDougal and for Daniels, plus enough to cover the taxes, basically. I mean, it's the bottom line of it. As the FBI affidavit says, this is in the Cohen case, quote, I have learned, this is an FBI agent writing, I have learned that in the days following the Access Hollywood video, Cohen exchanged a series of calls, text messages, and emails with Keith Davidson, who was then Clifford's attorney. Clifford's is Stormy Daniels. Her real name is Stephanie Clifford. David Pecker and Dylan Howard of American Media, the publisher of the National Enquirer, Trump, and Hope Hicks, who was then press secretary for Trump's presidential campaign. So now expect to see Hope Hicks testify to this. David Pecker is testifying to it as we speak. He said Michael Cohen was pleased by the way I was going to handle these issues. He said that on the stand just a few moments ago. So there's that. And then there's the contempt of court hearing. They held that this morning. There were 10 specific items that the prosecutors were saying were examples of Trump committing contempt of court, violating the gag order. And they were asking the judge not to throw him in jail, which is the judge's prerogative, but to fine him. Now, the problem is the maximum fine for contempt of court in New York State is $1,000. And apparently, I'm not a New York lawyer, but I've read this in a couple of places. If it's not 1,000, it's maybe 2 or 3, but it's not a lot. It's an amount that Trump can kind of sneer at. I mean, you'll recall, I think he had to pay $15,000 in contempt of court charges on his fraud trial in Tanya Chutkan's courthouse. Of course, that was not a state. Oh, no, wait a minute. That was no, this was Letitia James. Yeah, that was a state court also. So there you go. So anyhow, these are the things that are going on right now, and it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird. And the big question, frankly, is how is this going to affect Trump's candidacy? The other thing that's interesting is that there was a new filing yesterday in the documents, the so-called documents case. It's really a Espionage Act case down in Florida, the one that's before Judge Eileen Cannon, where Donald Trump stole cases of top secret documents and military secrets, smuggled them down to Mar-a-Lago, kept them in a room with a giant copy machine that's capable of copying and transmitting things over the internet, and like to Russia. And God only knows what he did with them. But, you know, he lied to the FBI about it repeatedly. So anyhow, in that case, Walt Nauta, who was his body guy, was his factotum, his right-hand man kind of guy around Mar-a-Lago. Now it has been revealed that the FBI has proof that Donald Trump offered Walt Nauta a pardon if he lied to the FBI. So, again, don't expect Judge Cannon to do anything about this, because she is just, you know, up to her eyeballs in Trump love, you know, or Trump fear. I mean, I think it's entirely possible that the reason Judge Eileen Cannon is cutting Trump every single possible slack is so that he won't attack her and her husband. And that's not an irrational concern. So, anyhow, new evidence of how, you know, severe Trump's crimes are down in Florida. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
I'm curious how you think this is going to affect the election. I frankly don't think it's going to affect the hardcore Trump base at all. None of this. What say you?